Okay, you guys, so I am actually gonna try and come back with a second part. Oh, man. Hopefully uninterrupted this time. Because whenever I get interrupted by a call or anything like that, like I lose all train of thought, so. Yeah, I mean, as little kids, you guys as little kids, we are never really told by our parents or any kind of adult individual for that matter that we're supposed to conduct life a certain way. And it may have been different in their time and everything. It was a lot easier for them. It was a lot easier for the parents of like the millennials and possibly the Gen Z. It was a lot easier for those parents to go throughout life, navigate through life. Doing, filling out an application on paper and just giving it to whoever person they may be applying to that company or whatever. In fact, I know it was a lot easier for them because they weren't going through the shit that us older millennials and the Gen Z, they didn't have it as hard, to apply for these jobs, to apply to these companies. I don't know. And they could just, if two people were together and they decided to have a child, then two incomes would be enough. Two incomes would be enough for them to maybe buy a larger house. Because as a younger person, I was raised in a 2-story house. And it just seems like nowadays it's like you can't even freaking afford that. You can't even afford that now. So yeah, I mean, they did have it easier. My parents' generation had it way easier than what it is now. They really did. And as an adult female, I'm thinking back, wow, I wish it was like that today. Really wish it was like that today, but the premise of this video was going to be about how certain human souls just do not fit in. They don't fit into today's society. Especially if you were born an anomaly, an alien like me. Because now in today's time, I really do consider myself an alien in this world. But there is few of us. There isn't many of us to really change anything. Because us as human beings, we're not on a collective level. We haven't connected on a collective level, and I think it's because of the easier access of technology and what it can do for us. We're just not as connected soulfully. We're not as connected soulfully and spiritually like how our ancestors were way back when. And it's because of all this technology that is readily accessible to the human race. People are all about their cell phones. People are all about their TVs nowadays. And I may have some time until my boyfriend comes back from his job, but I'm gonna see if I can say anything profound, like, until he comes back, but as a young kid, as a younger person, as a younger kid, right, like sometimes parents, other adults will not tell you, like, okay, yeah, this is how life goes, this is how life is, Sometimes these parents will not teach these kids, and it should really go into like the teen ages of these adolescents, These parents out here who are breeders, right? They just feel like they should have kids, I don't know. I mean, at least from my perspective, I was not told, like, okay, yeah, this is how life really is. This is what you should do so to be successful in this matrix reality. I was never really told, as a younger person, like, okay, you should do this and this and this in order to be successful, in order to make it within this third dimensional reality, within this matrix reality itself. Like, as a younger person, I was never really told that, in order to land a job, land a career, you should take this specific such and such and such and such courses, because, as a young kid growing up, I always thought that, I would be like a great artist or something like that, and my parents never really told me, like, okay, well, yeah, art is really not something you should focus on, so just focus on this instead, focus on that. Sometimes these adults will never really tell you at a young age, like, there are certain specific things that, that equate to what you should really learn to thrive in this corporate reality, because, it only takes, I'm thinking, it only takes people who are rich, people who already have money saved, people who already have like maybe thousands of dollars saved, to become like this renowned artist or something. And I went into college thinking, like, okay, well, I'll just be an artist, That, that's all I freaking thought. Like, I'm like, okay, I'll be an artist, and maybe somebody like who is artistic will like hire me. But no, that wasn't really the case at all. College didn't do anything for me. It didn't do shit for me. And here I am taking all these like art proficient like college classes, thinking like, okay, well, and this is when I was in my 20s. You know, this is when I was in my early 20s to late 20s. Like I just thought like, okay, well, I'll just take these art classes, you know, not thinking like, you know, thinking like, you know, I would land something like pertaining to art, like, you know, for my career, but that never really, it didn't work out for me at all. That never really happened for me. So I just, you know, I'm thinking like I took all these college classes for nothing. I really did. I took all these college classes for nothing. You know, because I wanted to be an artist, you know, because as a younger child, I was good at art, you know, I could draw anything. As a younger kid, like, I was very good at art. I could draw anything you wanted me to draw. But, you know, me going into my early adulthood thinking like, okay, well, maybe this college would help me, you know, with my artistic endeavors. It just didn't work out like that. It never did. So I just went through life thinking like, oh yeah, I could freaking cut hair, and I took a cosmetology. I went to cosmetology school too as well, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, I could just cut hair and, you know, do nails and stuff and make a living off that, but that never really worked for me either, because I didn't really know anybody. I didn't know anybody. You know, I didn't have like a decent clientele or anything. So I just ended up doing all that shit for nothing. And then that cosmetology school ended up shutting down, you know. So, you know, as younger children, as adolescents, or, you know, sometimes parents will never really tell you like, okay, well, this is what you need to do to, you know, to land a proficient career. Like, it can't be about art. It can't be about music. It can't be about history, you know. It can't be about any of that stuff. You gotta try and take classes that are more in demand. You know, you gotta take what's more in demand, what people are looking for. And I was never really taught that at a young age. I never was. So I'm just going through this life all lost and confused and, you know. It's crazy. It's crazy. And that's why I said on my last video, like, you know, my higher self, maybe my higher self was in some kind of like past reform, to where like I may, you know, before coming here, before coming into this physical body, like I had made a deal with the archons. My soul, who I am now, had made a deal with the archons, who are following Yaldabaoth. You know, these beings are fallen angels who, you know, who have taken over the physical reality. And I must have thought like, okay, well, I'll make a deal if I'm able to do such and such, you know, from my own sovereign being, you know. But going into my imagination, I'm thinking, these beings in the fifth dimension were actually like the souls of orcs, and I made a deal with them because they actually presented presented themselves as archons, but they're actually orcs, right? Because I have now awakened to my true identity, and I'm thinking in the past, like my past being, like my past being had reached the 5th dimension, and I will do it again. But I made a deal with them. I made a deal saying that, okay, if these orcs if they won't do anything to harm my husbands in the physical, then I'll make this deal with them, because I really love my spiritual husbands. I love my star family so much. So I'm thinking, like, in a past life, I made a deal, and they promised to not hurt my spiritual husbands. And in my past videos I've made on this channel, like, I made a lot of starseed videos. I've made a lot of starseed videos, like, like in the past on this channel, and I do talk about my spiritual husbands then. But I said, if my spiritual husbands are okay, then I guess I would be at a means to an end to suffer, because my spiritual husbands, they don't deserve this bull crap. They don't deserve all this bull crap dealing with you orcs. So if you guys aren't gonna harm them or like tamper with them in any way, then I'll make a deal with you. I think that's basically what happened. And then my ancestral line was cursed because my higher self in the previous life that I had, like, I had a premonition, and like, I told my spiritual husbands about it, and I mean, they were safe, but it still doesn't mean like the orcs would like come, wouldn't come back after them, So like, I just, as a starseed, like, I'm like, okay, well, let me sacrifice my soul so that my husbands will not have to deal with this crap with the orcs, what the orcs are planning, which are servants of Yaldabaoth. So I mean, it's just some crazy shit going on, you guys. It's really crazy shit. Because I know that I'm much more than what I am now. I know that I'm much more than what I am now. But just because I'm in this physical state, just because I'm in this state of physicality and things are really freaking shitty right now, it doesn't mean that I had totally disregarded myself. Like, I still felt that I was still able to do something, if that makes any sense. This is all freaking starseed talk. This information might go right over your guys' heads. But it's okay. It's totally fine. It's just fine. It's just like when my peace is interrupted and stuff, and I feel like whatever I want to do is interrupted. Like, I just get in a bad mood. It's really getting a bad mood. Because I feel like I'm not really where want to be, and I just feel bitter, and it's all that bull crap. It just sucks. So yeah, now at this point, it's just like I do feel framed. I do feel framed into living this life because I'm not where I want to be, but I have my truths. I have my peace with it. Doesn't mean I should be upset or mad about it like 24/7. I've made my peace with it, but anyways. It's just sometimes these parents out here, like, they never really truly tell you, like, how to navigate this stupid life. Most of them don't. Because, like, most parents, they'll think, like, oh, okay, well, yeah, they're just being kids, like, let them have their fun and stuff. And it's just like, well, no, I need to freaking learn how to freaking navigate this life properly so I can be successful. you know, don't let me be a kid, just like tell me what you know. Tell me what you've learned. Because I need to freaking know it. I need to know it in order to survive this stupid matrix reality that we live every day. Don't tell me like, oh yeah, you're an artist, you're a musician, like things will just work out for you. No. That's just not the reality of things. Because it's not going to work out for you. It's not going to work out for you in the long run. It really isn't. Because none of that shit applies nowadays. It really doesn't. If you want to be creative, if you want to be innovative, if you want to be like a philosopher or something like that, or learn music or something like that, it's not going to work out in the real life. It's never going to work out in the real life, and sometimes, they don't tell you about that. They really don't. They don't tell you that, yeah, that's not going to work. They just, I don't know. And it's just like you're supposed to learn life skills, and it's just like, okay, well, most of that stuff that I want to do will not work. It's not going to work here. It just doesn't work here. The stuff that you want to do, the stuff that your heart is telling you to do, it does not work here. It doesn't work here. And sometimes we're just led astray. We're misguided most of the time. And then it just fucks you over in the end. Ridiculous.